heart, a clap, all our love. Reverend Evelyn Bourne.
Thank you, Regina. Thank you. I need some of that energy this morning. Thank you so much. So I want to begin my little power talk with a quick prayer. So I invite the presence of Spirit to be with me this morning, to be in my heart, because it is out of the overflow of the heart that the mouth speaks. Amen, and so it is. So I'm going to take my the text for my talk this morning out of the Science of Mind textbook. I have a brand new one that I received as an ordination gift. Thank you, Reverend Michelle. The text can be found on page 32, paragraph 3. There is a power in the universe that honors our faith in it. There is a law in the universe which exacts the uttermost farthing. We all wish to feel that the power behind everything is good, as well as creative, an eternal and changeless intelligence in which man lives and moves and has his being. Intuitively, we sense that every man in his native state is some part or manifestation of this eternal principle, and that the entire problem of limitation, evil, suffering, and uncertainty is not God ordained, but it is the result of ignorance. So I think that we can all agree that there's kind of been a lot going on lately. And I was watching a video the other day that reminded me that in the space of time between Friday, May 13th and Monday, May 16th, there were 5 mass shootings in this country. One of those mass shootings occurred in Buffalo, New York, where a young man traveled to kill 10 black people who were just going grocery shopping. There's a war in another part of the world which is having an impact on our economy. And we're still being affected by the pandemic. So there's a lot going on. I believe everyone's life has been touched in some way by this pandemic. There's been so much death and sadness. And but we know, as metaphysicians, we know that we can pray and that we have the tools to handle our lives, but sometimes it can get to be challenging. There's a thing called compassion fatigue, and the American Institute of Stress defines compassion fatigue as vicarious traumatization. It is the emotional residue or strain of exposure to working with those who are suffering from consequences of traumatic events. And I also found it fascinating that Mother Teresa and her beautiful nuns that work with her, she requires everyone who works with her to take a year off after working with caring for the sick and the dying, as they do every 3 or 4 years. So I just wanted to share a couple of things about that you can do if you are starting to feel overwhelmed, if you're starting to feel a bit of compassion fatigue, creeping up on you. Pray without ceasing. Every thought is a prayer, right? So pray for the world that you would desire to see. Treat news stories, local and global events, as prayer requests. You can send love and light, turn the situation over to Spirit, and keep your life moving. Forgive everyone for everything. I like to say, I forgive everything in every direction of time and space. Of course, you want to still do your specific forgiveness work, but that sort of like Ho'oponopono covers it all. And finally, take care of yourself. Self-care is vital. You cannot give from an empty cup. And I wanted to share this. I wanted to close with this message from Galatians, which is out of the Message Bible. So let's not allow ourselves to get fatigued doing good. At the right time, we will harvest a good crop if we don't give up or quit. Right now, therefore, every time we get the chance, let us work for the benefit of all, starting with the people closest to us in the community of faith. So thank you for listening to my quick little power talk, And I am honored to now pass the mic over to our beloved Reverend Dr. Michelle Wadley. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, thank you. So the name of today's talk is a goddamn it kind of prayer. And it might sound irreverent, but in truth, it is a very important thing for us to understand. So I'm going to try to unpack it and dissect it and give you a fun example of it. So if we took all the qualities, if I had a spreadsheet right now, and I took the elements of traditional prayer, and I took the elements of spiritual mind treatment, and I took the elements of just powerful affirmations, and I removed all of the superfluous, unnecessary language and came down to the most important components required for the demonstration of any prayer, traditional or science of mind treatment. It would come down to clear focus and direction and about, I don't mean A-B-O-U-T, but a bout of passion, exuberance, conviction, call it what you may. All of those things are present at times when you know it and when you don't know it. And it's most dangerous when you don't know it. Because often, and actually I'm going to change my view here. I'm going to take me off the spotlight because I want to see all y'all. So there in this, I can guarantee that sometimes y'all ruminate about what's happened in your life when you're annoyed and pissed off. Can I see a show of hands? And what happens, I mean, if that's true, no, if it's not true. And so what happens is in your ruminating, often you're very impassioned about the ruminating. So if and this happens, Murphy's Law exists because of what I'm about to tell you. So what happens is you wake up in the morning and let's say you stub your toe. And all of your focus is on that toe. How did you do it? What did I do wrong? And now it appears as if the rest of the day, and often the rest of the day, oh, this goes wrong or that goes wrong. And right, you ever have that kind of day where it feels like, oh my God, I got to go to sleep and wake up and start again? That's because we have undisciplined thinking and we allow that moment that impacted us to catch our attention. So when we ruminate about arguments that you might have with a loved one, when you ruminate consistently about the news, when you allow your imagination combined with your emotions to come together, you are, whether you realize it or not, in prayer. If prayer is what I said it is. So I want to give prayer my own little definition for our purpose today. My definition for prayer or spiritual mind treatment is that when words are spoken or simply thought that are also felt, words that are spoken or thought, but that they are felt in one particular direction to cause a desired outcome. And often it's intentional, but often it's not intentional. So I recently, and we have one more night, I've been teaching this 1 hour class on Monday nights, and the class is called Shift Your Mind, Shift Your Life. It doesn't take a genius to know where I stole that from. I just kind of shifted the words. But what my point and the whole point of that 1 hour on Monday nights is to drive the point home. It's not just your spoken word. You are praying while you are listening to me. You are praying while you're in your garden. You are praying while you're cooking food. And most often, I love you all, but often we have undisciplined thoughts. We allow an upset to catch our attention. We allow CNN or Fox News to catch our attention. We allow an upsetting text or something on Facebook, as if Facebook was an authority. But because we allow it to catch our attention and then our emotions get hooked, there we are with a thought and a feeling combined, and that is what is required to move us along in the direction of demonstration. So whether you realize it or not, you summon a potent emotion with upset. And this is what it sounds like for some of you sometimes, and me too. I'm done. I've had enough. Hell no. Hell yes. No way, no how, not now, not ever. Yes. Thank you, God. Yes. Thank you, Jesus. All of these have the potency of our conviction and the impression of our desire and the emotion that moves it into being. That is what a prayer requires. Again, a thought along a particular line of thinking. Holmes was clear about this. That is undergirded with an emotion, a passion, a conviction. Are we clear? So anytime you are in upset, or you are condemning yourself, if you are, or you are condemning another, you're in prayer. So it says to you, sometimes you're misusing that thinking. Sometimes you are deteriorating the very essence of who you are. And sometimes it will be contrary to your own health, because we cannot carry within us negative condemnation, criticism, and judgment and expect healthy, happy outcomes. It is about disciplining the mind. It is about breaking old patterns. It is about moving in the direction of your desired outcome consciously. These kind of words that I just said to you, they fall out of our mouth often while you are busy imagining what you want. So let's say we're having a weird thing in our neighborhood right now with a cat. Who owns a particular cat, and the upset between my son, his wife, and new neighbors. Let's just, we don't need any more details than that. But if I am busy condemning these people for what I think is right and what I think they should do differently, that condemnation lives in me. You get that? That condemnation, the feeling, the weight of condemnation is then alive in me. And I ask you, do you want the result of condemnation, which is to deteriorate the very fiber of your being? Do you want that alive in you? I'm going to guess you don't. And all of this comes from being, and I don't mean to be critical right now, but it's about having irresponsible thinking, undisciplined thinking. The thing about being more powerful is simply to be more conscious of our spoken and our unspoken words. Unspoken is so important. Because you didn't say it out loud does not mean that you are not creating it. I can't tell you enough. And Evelyn's an author. We have a few other people here that are authors that are beautiful with words. No beautiful words matter more than the consciousness and the feeling tone that you bring to the words that you're speaking. You could be completely clumsy outwardly with language and not have a grasp on language and still be demonstrating and often demonstrating what it is you don't know. Neville got it. Oh, so what? Let me tie this piece together. So if you are in a God damn it kind of moment, often you're in your imagination at the same time, right? You're usually imagining what it is you don't want, what it is you're unhappy about, what it is that you're just fed up with. Well, according to Neville Goddard, and I buy into this completely, imagination is equivalent to thought. It's another word for God. So if you and I, before we go to sleep at night, we go back into that ruminating irresponsibly, we are activating the law of co-creation by allowing our mind to imagine the outcome you and I don't want. Well, often that's what happens. So we have to realize that our imagination is directly hooked up with the co-creative essence of all that is. So you and I cannot afford not to pay attention to what I'm saying. We cannot afford not to do it. We must lift ourselves up, speak responsibly. And I know my husband, my poor husband, it must be really annoying to live with me because I am not a word Nazi in that I'm correcting language, but anybody who's near me, our language creates, our word creates. And I'm pretty annoying about it because I hate when I suddenly catch someone maybe misusing it and not benefiting from the power that really is in the word. We were talking to a friend this morning who was saying that his wife, who used to be a practitioner, has become an atheist. I went, okay, what's that about? So an atheist, I looked it up. An atheism, in the broadest sense, is an absence of belief in the existence of deities. Less broadly, atheism is a rejection of the belief that any deities exist. In an even narrower sense, atheism is specifically the position that there are no deities. That's from the Wikipedia God. Okay, so with this, I could be an atheist because I don't believe in a deity. And according to another Wikipedia God, a deity is a deity or a god is a supernatural being who's considered divine or sacred. I don't buy into that. I believe the intelligence of all that is everywhere present. And the more you and I say, yes, this is happening through me. Yes, this is happening as me. Yes, this is happening through me. And we affirm that, we begin to develop a more powerful, potent relationship of this co-creative essence that doesn't have a name or a face. I haven't given power to a face or a name in decades. There is, remember this mantra. You've heard me say this before. And this is something, again, I used in my shadow class yesterday. There is no outside. There is no other. If you can buy into that, if you can join me and believe that there is no outside and there is no other, and that all that is good and glorious and holy and sacred is who you are, then there is no God to worship. It is your essence to be present to and to just relish in it. And I gotta tell you, something gentle is shifting in my life because there's something sweet that's happening. Things inanimate. Am I saying that word right? Things, sunrises, a blossom on a tree, something my youngest granddaughter does, now capture my attention to the degree that I can feel the presence. I can feel God in my experience. I can feel that presence alive in the beauty of the littlest things of life. So I kind of am walking around more often with this absolute sense of awe and wonder. Awe and wonder. It's a beautiful way to have a relationship with the intelligence that is. And face it, you and I, we have the freedom to name our God. I'm going to ask you in the chat, how do you name that? What is that for you? What is that for you? For me now, a lot of it is awe. And being one who does the really heavy work that I do with individuals toward emotional health, sometimes my awe is when someone heals. Evelyn, you spoke so, so rawly about what's happening now in the world. It has been painful. And because of the work that I do, divine intelligence. I see one in there. I don't see any more yet. Let me know what your word is. Because of the work that I do in working with so many people in my forgiveness work and my shadow work. Yes, beautiful. All there is. Infinite love, light, divine, infinite consciousness. Beautiful, beautiful. I love these. Beautiful. So, when I'm working with a class of people who are seeking to free themselves and to shed the scabs of humanity and shed the scabs of their conditioning and break free of the chains of their upset and their conditioning. And then we're in this deep and profound, I love all these, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. And we're in this deep and profound work together. And then I get a phone call from someone 99% of the time, not 100%, from a woman who shares with me her deepest pain, a story of rape, a story of violence, a story of incest. But what happens is they will then, because of the work we're doing, they choose to use this divine power that we're talking about to not be at the mercy of those events. So I have to hold on. I personally have to hold on to my relationship with the divine, because if I didn't, I would stop this job tomorrow. Because the human pain can be so distracting. The stories could be so distracting. But I don't let go because I remember that there is an essence bigger than that. And that essence can cover, kind of wash over these people and love on them and lift them out of their pain and their suffering. I told you I was going to tell you one cute little story. Can you hear my ice maker? Is that like loud here? Oh, good. Because it's making all sorts of sounds. Many, many years ago, when I used to live in Florham Park, my stepdaughter and her family were visiting at the time. And it was like at the end of winter. And it was one of those winters we had almost no snow. And we were standing in the dining room, kind of ruminating, but we wanted snow. Why didn't we get any snow? And I'll never forget it because it's the first time that happened. And I slapped my hand on the dining room table. I said, God damn it, I want snow. Within moments, it was hysterical. Within moments, we look out the window and these gigantic, like they look like, Queen Anne's lace, that weed, the Queen Anne's lace. They look like these snowflakes. They were kind of floating. And then they were gone. They came and they left in a moment. I'll never be able to understand what happened. Maybe it was the tail end of a cloud, but it was a perfect indicator that enough passion can drive and create anything. Your passion, your conviction is required with your spoken and unspoken word. I see somebody shaking their head there. So we have to be responsible. Think in the direction, feel in the direction, love in the direction of your desired outcome. Please watch your mind. Pay attention to your ruminating. And the thing I'm going to remind you, and you've heard me say this numerous times, sometimes when we're in a car and we're alone and we let ourselves just kind of think, I don't know about you, but I used to do this. That's where I would go up, rah, 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 he said this or she said this, and blah, 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 blah. That mind monkey activity. Well, I used to do it because I wasn't paying attention to the fact that spirit is always paying attention. Spirit is always paying attention. So I no longer, I am disciplined like I've never been before in my life, because I'm holding on to that holy I am. I am of the one that is precious and glorious and magnificent as it creates in, through, and as me. And that 2-letter word is the most important word that you want to keep alive in you. Spirit creates as me. It's not outside. It's not separate. There's no one doling down the miraculous. You are it. You activate it when you want to and when you don't. I have big love for you all. I thank you for being here today. Please, please. Oh, I want to say one other thing. Watch your mind. Watch your mind. And I know some of you read the newsletters and some of you just don't, which is sad to me because we go through a lot of effort each week to deliver both the member newsletter, which is called Remembering You, and then the regular newsletter, which is more about marketing. In June, I have decided that I want to provide all of you with an opportunity to benefit from the forgiveness course that I've been teaching for years. I'm going to do it for a love offering. So it will be 4 weeks, and I want you all there. I want Edward and Sal and Dave and Marilyn and Judy and Rocky and Lynette and Dawn Lee and Donald and Gary and Terry and Ty and Elaine and Andy and Henry and Chrisula and Alfred and Brian and Antonia and Neil and Regina and Sally and Garth and Bill and Marilyn. And Terry, did I say Terry? Did I say Gary Frank? I know I went in a weird direction. And Evelyn, I want you all there. So as a community, we up-level our conversation about the power of forgiveness, because it is powerful. It transforms your life when you activate it. So I'm really hoping you take advantage of this opportunity. It's going to be a truncated version of what I do and what I've been doing for many years. Good. Sign up right away. Sign up right away when the newsletter comes out. Big love to you. And I hope I'm going to see so many of you next Sunday at Jean and Slane's house in Florham Park. I'm bringing my grandkids. Come on down next Sunday. Love you.
Michelle, they can sign up right now. I just put it in the chat. So
of course you did, darling, because that's what we do. Love you. Thank you.
And Michelle, you're going to do a treatment for